Hello students. So students, in the previous class in this chapter, that is matter around just pure, we were talking about that of the solution. We have studied the properties of the solution, and in that we have also seen that what are the different types of the solution. So we have seen that generally solution means the solute and that of the solvent. And the solute, mainly we always think that solute is a solid only, and solvent will be a liquid. Means solvent, basically we always think that a solvent is a water, but you know now that it is not like that. A solute can be a solid, even a solvent can be a solid, a solute can be a liquid, and the solvent can also be a liquid. A solute can be a gas, and a solvent can also be a gas. So we can say that it can be anything. It can be solid, it can be liquid, or it may be a gas. So with the help of that, we have seen the different types of the solution. So we have seen here, student, solid in solid. Then we have seen solid in liquid. Then we have seen the liquid in liquid. Then we have seen gas in liquid or gas in gas. So with the help of the different example, we have understood this we have seen this different types of a solution. So let me give you an example and a very quick examples of all these. If we talk about the solid in solid, it means solid solute, solid solvent. Metal alloys, very good example. Two metals are joined together to form the metal alloy. So brass, we have seen that copper and zinc, if you mix together, then there is a formation of a brass. So both of them are the solid. So one is taken in a less amount, another is taken in a more amount. So one is a solute, another is a solvent. So the formation of this occurs solid in solid. Solid in liquid, it means solute should be solid and it is dissolved in liquid. It means in water or in a non-aqueous solution, whatever. Okay, so you see that a sugar solution or a salt solution in which sugar is a solid and water we will take as a liquid. When you mix it, it will be a solid in liquid. Or iodine in alcohol, so that is known as the tincture of iodine. So here when you make the tincture of iodine, there also the solid in liquid is formed. Then liquid in liquid, normally we use a term for it that is known as emulsion, in which water in oil or oil in water occur. So there the two type of liquids we have taken. Vinegar, acetic acid in that of the water forms the vinegar. Then gas in liquid, so soda water is a very good example in which the carbon dioxide in a small amount is dissolved in water. So soda water is also an example of a gas in water. Now gas in gas, last but not the least, and that is the nitrogen is in the major amount. So we will consider them as a solvent, and the other different gases which is along with that of the nitrogen is a that of the gas in gas. Okay. Now you see, students, then we have started with another topic and try to understand that of the suspension. And we have seen in case of a suspension, the suspension, it includes those substances which do not get easily dissolved. Okay, so it remains spread throughout the solution. It means it remains throughout that of the substance in which it is dissolved, but it do not get dissolved in water. Okay, so we have seen in case of a solution that when you add the solute in the solvent, it gets dissolved. But it is a particle, when you mix it with the another one, it will not going to mix with it. So it remains undissolved, that is a suspension. We have seen here a few examples like sand in water or chalk in water or a muddy water is there, students. So these are what? These are the examples of that of the suspension in which the particles, they do not get mixed but spread throughout. And it is also called as a heterogeneous mixture. Now, we will understand the properties of the suspension with the help of example. So, we have seen here that if suppose you take sand with that of the water, so what will happen? First of all, you will take a feast of a sand and dissolve in the water and you mix it. What will you see, students? So, here the first thing that you will observe that it will not going to mix with it. So, it is spread throughout, but it do not get mixed with each other. So, this proves that it is a heterogeneous mixture. Okay. Now, it is a heterogeneous mixture. This is the first thing we have seen. Now, the second thing when you can do that, left it undisturbed. Now you have taken that sand and water together. You can take chalk and water also, doesn't matter. So if suppose you have taken this sand and water and you had kept it simply, you will find that when you kept it left undisturbed without touching it, when you leave it simply, you will find that after a few interval of a time, all the sand which is present in the water, which is not dissolved, spread but do not dissolve, it will settle down at the bottom of the container in which you have taken these two. Okay, so suppose you have taken a beaker, so all the sand will settle down at the bottom. So we can say that in case of a suspension, settling occurs. Now, what you have to do now, that you have taken a filter paper and a funnel, and you just keep the filter paper on the funnel, and you have taken another beaker. Now what you will do, you will shake it properly, the sand and the water together, and then you will pour that sand and water into that of the funnel in which the filter paper is there. It means what we are doing, we are simply filtering that of the sand and water. So what will you observe, student? You will find that sand will remain as a residue on that of the filter paper. Okay, so it will remain as residue on the filter paper. Okay, so this we have understood by this that and water, it will be filtered. So we can say that when you filter a suspension, when you filter chalk and water, when you filter a muddy water, when you filter this sand and water, you will find that it can be filtered easily and we will get a unfiltered part as a residue. Now you see, student, is it possible to see a visible boundary? Because when we are talking about the heterogeneous mixture, we always know that there is a visible boundary between the two components which is present in the mixture, right? So yes, we are able to see that, and since we are able to see the particles, and it is because of the size of the particle. So in case of a suspension, the size of the particle is bigger enough that we are able to see it through our naked eye. So it is more than 100 nanometer. So this is the size of that of the suspension. Now what you have done, you have taken the chalk and water or the sand water, and you have taken a torch, and when you throw a beam of a light through this suspension, you will find that the path is visible to us. Why is it so? It is because the size of the particle is big enough that it helps in scattering of the light. Okay, so these are the properties of suspension. Now let us write it and then we will understand. So by this we come to the properties, students. So the first property is this is a very important one, students, that a suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. Okay, a suspension is a heterogeneous mixture. So we know that when you look at the solution, you will find that at some place the sand is present, at other place the sand is not present. So it is not uniformly mixed throughout that of the water, throughout the solvent, and thus it is a heterogeneous mixture. But you have seen in case of the sugar and the salt solution, student, when we were talking this in the true solution. So if you look at the solution, after mixing the salt and the sugar in it, you will be not able to find the sugar or the salt in the water. So you will say that it is properly mixed. And even when you take out the spoon of water from any of the part of the glass, you will find it that it consisting of a salt or sugar in it. So we will say that it is uniformly mixed throughout the mass, and thus it is called as the homogeneous mixture. And if it is not mixed properly uniformly throughout, then we will use the term for it, and that is known as a heterogeneous mixture. The second one is the particles of the suspension is quite large. Okay, and when you find it, students, so it will be almost equals to that of the 100 nanometer. Okay, so more than 100 nanometer. It is larger than 100 nanometer. Okay, it is larger than 100 nanometer in diameter. Nanometer in diameter. So we can say that it is more than that of the 100 nanometer in diameter. What happened in case of the true solution? If it was even less than that of the 1 nanometer in diameter, and here it is even more than that of the 100 nanometer in diameter. So you can imagine that the particles are quite large, even that it can be seen with the help of our naked eyes. Okay. So we can write it. The particles of the suspension can be seen easily. Okay, so it can be seen easily even with our naked eye. So these are the properties. Then the next one, students, in the same one, that when you try to filter it with the help of the filter paper, you will get the residue. Okay. So you will get the residue. What does that mean? That it can be filtered with the help of a filter paper. Sorry, it cannot be filtered. We can write it that the particles of the suspension cannot pass through the filter paper. Cannot pass through the filter paper. Okay, so suspension can be separated through filtration. Okay, so suspension, it can be separated through filtration. Next one. So with the help of the filter paper, it can be separated. Particles can be separated. Then the next one is the students, that the particles are unstable. Unstable, it means when you left it on the stove for some time, the particles get settled down at the bottom. The particles of the suspension settle down after some time. Okay, so we can also say that settling of the particles occurs in the suspension. So settling of the particle occur in case of the suspension here, students. Okay, when you keep it left undisturbed, it will settle down. Finally, the particles, we said that the size of the particle is quite large. So when you pass a beam of a light through the suspension, it will scatter the beam of a light. And when the scattering occurs, you are knowing that when the beam of a light which is coming towards any of the particle, when it is scattered, then the things are visible to us. So the particles which is present in that of the suspension is scatter the light, due to which path is visible to us. So we can write the next property. So we can write it. A suspension scatters a beam of light. Scatters a beam of light passing, beam of light passing through it. It occurs because particles are quite large. Particles are quite large. Okay, so suspension, it scatters a beam of a light, and when beam of a light passes through the particles, and it occurs because of the size of the particle. So this was all about that of the suspension students. So we had studied about the solution, the property of solution, then we have understood the properties and that of the suspension. Okay, now let us move to the last one, and that is colloids. 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 Now here, when you talk about the colloids, so before we going to the colloid, let me remind you again, when we were talking about the solution, we said that the particles are very small. When we start talking about the suspension, we said the particles are quite large. So what happened in case of the colloid? Actually, in case of a colloid, it is a kind of a substance in which the particle, it is intermediate between that of the suspension and solution. It means the size of the particle is intermediate between the solution and that of the suspension. Now, if the size of the particle is intermediate between the solution and suspension, so its properties will also be as an intermediate between the solution and suspension. Let us write the first point, then we will move. So colloid is a kind of a solution. A colloid is a kind of solution in which the size of the solid particle is intermediate between true solution, that those of true solution and suspension. Okay, so kind of a solution in which the size of the solute particle is intermediate between that of true solution that of true solution and suspension. So we can say here, actually the size of the colloid particle is bigger than true solution particles and smaller than particles of suspension. Okay, so the size of the colloid particle is here, it is bigger than that of the true solution particles, and then absolutely we can understand it very easily, because when we were talking about the true solution, we said that the size is less than 1 nanometer. In case of a suspension, we said it is more than that of the 100 nanometer. So the between, it means between 1 nanometer to the 100 nanometer in diameter will be the size of the colloid particle. Okay, now let us move. Okay, now you see students, the question arises here that whether a colloid particle or colloids are homogeneous or heterogeneous. So when you look at it, it seems that it is a homogeneous mixture. But actually it can be seen with the help of a powerful microscope, and it seems that it is actually a heterogeneous. So it appears homogeneous, but it is actually a heterogeneous. Okay, so we can write it. That is, colloid particle appears to be homogeneous but it is found to be a heterogeneous So generally when you look at the colloidal solution, so you see it seems that the colloid particles are homogeneous, okay, but with the help of a powerful microscope, if it is found that it is actually a heterogeneous mixture. Now let us see some of the example of the colloidal solution, and then we will try to understand the properties. So example of colloids. The first is starch solution. Then soap solution. Soap and water is a very good example. Soap solution. Then milk. Milk is also a colloidal solution. So milk. Then ink is there, students. Ink is also an example of a colloidal solution. Blood. Then jelly. Jelly-like substances. These all are, jelly is also example of colloidal solution. Okay. And solution of synthetic detergent. Synthetic detergent. So these are what? These are the examples of that of the colloidal solution. Okay. Now let us, we will talk about that what are the different properties, other properties of the colloidal solution. Now here we have taken an example, student, and that is a soap solution. Suppose it's a very easy one, because this kind of a solution we can make it our home also. So it's a very familiar kind of a solution. That is why I am taking the soap solution. So if suppose you have taken a soap solution, so what will happen if suppose you will add a little amount of a salt in the water and you try to dissolve it, you will find that the water mixes with the soap and the solution is formed, which is the soap solution. It is not a transparent, that you can see in case of the sugar also. When you mix the sugar solution is very transparent one, right? You cannot see by looking at, you can say that yes, it consisting of a sugar or it consisting of a salt in it. So sugar solution and that of the salt solution is a very transparent one. But in case of a soap solution, it is a translucent, not transparent but translucent. Now, what will happen if suppose when you left it undisturbed for some time, so you had kept the soap solution for a period of a time. Now, after some time, when you come and look at it, do you find that any kind of a particles present at the bottom of the glass or present at the bottom of the beaker in which you have taken the soap, in which you have made the soap solution? No. It means even after keeping it for a period of a time, you will find that no settling of the particle occur, no particles get settled down. Then particle is a homogeneous or it is a heterogeneous. You can observe it with the help of a powerful microscope. Now, if suppose you will try to throw a beam of a light to that of the soap solution, do you find anything? You will find that the soap solution means the beam of a light will form a path, and that path is visible to us. So it occurs because although the size is less than that of suspension, but it is quite large than that of the true solution. Thus, the scattering of the light can occur in case of the soap solution, which is a colloidal solution, students. Okay. Okay. So by this, student, by all these properties, so these are some of the properties, we will write about it also. But let me remind you here that you will see that this colloidal solution or this colloidal particle will possess both of the property, means some of the property of a true solution and some of the property of the suspension. If you say that it seems homogeneous, which is a property of a solution, but actually it is a heterogeneous, which is a property of a suspension. Then next one is that they do not settle down when you kept it left undisturbed for some time. Okay, so this basically happened with that of the true solution, because when you keep it left undisturbed, it will not going to settle down. Then when you pass a beam of a light through it, then the particle will scatter the light. So this happens in case of the suspension. But in case of a colloidal solution, and in case of a colloidal solution also this happens, but in case of a true solution it does not happen. So you can see that a colloidal solution, colloidal particle have some of the property of a true solution and have some of the property of the suspension also.